Stoic.
Daily Stoic. Okay, I'm excited.
Don't be alarmed. My green fleece is fine. It's just being washed.
Your green Patagonia.
Don't be alarmed.
Don't
And
be
we're
alarmed.
going to a
Flower field.
flower field, so we're like.
That's why I got my bling on.
Yeah. That's awesome.
March 27th. Pay what things are worth. Okay. Diogenes. Oh, you got something?
No. Let's go. That's great. No, I
Okay.
have things, but let's go through it.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. This starts with Diogenes, which is one I didn't learn about him from ChatGPT last night. So
We researched some data.
well, because I've been lying to you about the history of Stoicism.
Historical, lying. You weren't.
Well,
We just didn't know.
We just didn't know, and I made an assumption that this was like thousands of years in between all these different people, when really it's like 200 years between these the three people that are represented the most in this book, which is Seneca, then Epictetus, then Marcus Aurelius. But then there's this Diogenes, and ChatGPT didn't say Jack SHIT about Diogenes. So
Diogenes. Wow, that's interesting. So let's.
and I was like,
Hey,
let's look
go.
at
We should go back to Google, like the old days.
like Google search. Boo.
That's fun.
Okay, so Diogenes. Here's the quote. Diogenes of Sinope said, "We sell things of great value for things of very little, and vice versa." We sell things of great value for things of very little, and vice versa.
Yeah, and then we buy things of very little value for a lot.
This is making me think of things of great value. It could even be like my time. Like I sell my time for things of very little value, which is the paycheck I get. And then now that has actually a lot of value because it represents my time. But now I go and I spend my paycheck on yoga pants or
overpriced items.
yeah, whatever the case is.
Yeah. So it's like both worlds are trying to keep you in that cycle. So you continue to be in that cycle because when you're in that cycle, somebody's making good profits out there from it, right? So they're yeah.
Cool. Here's what Ryan has to say.
I was also gonna say before you read it, can you read that again? The quote.
We sell things of great value for things of very little, and vice versa.
I was also thinking about, like, based on the title, I was thinking about, like, sometimes we, like, want to get a really, really good deal. And so we lowball people or something. And then when we are selling an item, we're like, do not lowball me. This is worth, we become the personality based on what scenario we're in, but we're always thinking about bettering ourselves in that situation. And the title kind of tells me, like, be fair, make fair deals for yourself, of course, but also don't lowball people. Be somewhere where everyone will feel much better during that. They will make the deal and the deal is going to be great and you're moving on and everyone feels great about it, versus like, oh, that guy got ripped off, right? And that guy really stole all his money type of a deal. So but it was not necessarily related to selling your high value items for low money and then go buy garbage for a lot.
I see how it's kind of similar. Yeah.
It's somewhat connected there. Yeah.
If you were the kind of person who is the person who's lowballing other people or something, it's because it is what I'm kind of pulling from this is that, like, evaluate what things are worth. Like, just be clear with yourself on like what things are worth. And that may mean if you're this type of person, you may have to go into a negotiation and be like, hey, like what you're bringing to the table is actually very valuable. And so I don't feel, it doesn't feel appropriate for me to come in and lowball you over here, something like that.
Not lowball, but I would say don't lowball, but do negotiate, right?
Right. So it's like
just so you can see where that place is where we feel everybody feels good, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think that conversation needs to start with a low ball.
Yeah. Versus like when you're going into like a car dealership, you as the customer, you're like trying to just lowball them as much as you can, and they are pretending that they cannot come down at all, right? So it's like you will find that place where you're gonna buy a car and they will sell it to you, but the way you're getting to it is this harsh kind of like this is what people hate buying cars, right? Because it's like I'm gonna get like I have to go through this nasty negotiation. It's not gonna be nice. This is going to be like right, yeah. Let's do Ryan. Let's see what he's got to say about this.
Here we go. You can buy a plume blanche diamond encrusted sofa for close to $200,000. It's also possible to hire one person to kill another person for $500. Remember that next time you hear someone ramble on about how the market decides what things are worth. The market might be rational, but the people who comprise it are not. Diogenes, who founded the Cynic school, emphasized the true worth of things, a theme that persisted in Stoicism and was strongly reflected in both Epictetus and Marcus. It's easy to lose track. When the people around you dump a fortune into trinkets they can't take with them when they die, it might seem like a good investment for you to make too. But of course it isn't. The good things in life cost what they cost. The unnecessary things are not worth it at any price. The key is being aware of the difference.
So that's even talking about more like, again, back to the don't buy things you don't need. And do buy the things you do need and pay a fair price for them.
Yeah, the good things in life cost what they cost.
Yeah.
Which I like that because sometimes you hear the phrase, the good things in life or the best things in life are always free. That might be true, like the best things in life are always free, but like your best life also includes things that are not free.
Not free, yeah.
And if you don't have those things that are not free, the quality of your life is going downhill fast. So they cost what they cost. Some of them might be free, like the love you have in a relationship, but some of them might cost a fortune.
Yeah.
And then I like the unnecessary things are not worth it at any price.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how good of a deal it is, how cheap something is. It's not worth it at any price.
And if you're contributing into the whole in some way, that whole is rewarding you with a paycheck or a contract or some sort of a finance support is going through your system where you now can afford those things. And why is it going through you? Well, because you are contributing into the whole thing, and the whole thing is recognizing it, so it does something back, right? When you actually only think about yourself and everything you're doing for yourself, then it's hard to get help, right? Because then it's like, well, and that's your whole point about don't sell what you made, sell the solution to customers' problem, right? Like focus on the problem and on their problem and on how that can be solved. All of a sudden now you're contributing. Very easy way to contribute into the whole is trying to solve the problems of the whole, whatever the problems are in that system.
Right.
If you are the one who can contributing to fixing it or creating something better, then that system will reward you back for it. Yeah, which just makes sense. And then I'm grateful that that's how it actually works, right? In some way. Yeah.
That's all I got.
There's something more about the exchanging time
Yeah.
for money and how that whole thing works, and like we're like it's something in there bugs me.
I think you can't look at it like that.
Yeah.
I think like that the moment that your brain is sort of looking at like that, as opposed to like, here's an opportunity for me to advance my skills, for me to contribute, because of like even the way you just phrased it of like we're contributing to the whole, and because we're part of this, the finances are flowing through us, and so like this is just what it means to be a part of this whole thing. That, if I go to work with that in mind, is a totally different experience.
It's a different attitude. Yeah.
Then they bought this 60 minutes from me for this $50 or whatever, So it's like, yeah, the frame of mind around it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like maybe it's that concept of like, well, you're just exchanging your time for money, and that's what the reality is, and that's what I'm saying. Like that image about that bugs me, because I'm like that's, I can't think like that for myself, right? Like I do have sometimes that thought, it goes through my head, not like I am exchanging my time for money. I usually don't look at it that way, but I hear that message out there, and something about it is like bugging me, and that's probably what it is that there is a different way of looking at it, and it's more of the contribution into this system, and therefore I am part of that system somehow, and that system now there's some feedback loop.
Well, and I think also it's not just that you get the paycheck from it either, it's also you get the experience where you've learned new things, you develop new skills, and now you have more options of where to move next. If you feel like, man, every morning I'm waking up and it continues to feel like I'm trading time for money, like that's not a situation I want to be in very long. So it's either I need to figure out how to change my mind about it, or this is telling me something like this isn't the place for you, or something like that.
So you're the thought that, man, I'm only exchanging time for money here, is really just an indication that something in that work, something with that goal, that something is not fitting. Yeah.
Or my mind is not straight.
Or my mind is not adjusted to something, like I'm maybe
I have weird expectations. Right, exactly. Yeah, and so you have to evaluate, like, is this like an okay situation and I just have weird expectations around the whole thing, and like it's on me actually to change my frame of mind? Or is like, no matter how much do I do that, am I still going to end up in this place, and therefore I need to be thankful for the experiences, the skills that I've gained here, and now I have that as like more tools in my toolkit, which means I actually have more options than I did when I got here of where to go next. And so even though that's scary to think about leaving the nest, it's like you trust the devil you do know versus the devil you don't, or people prefer to be unhappy versus uncertain, like all these types of things. So you have to accept that, like, man, this next leg is going to be difficult and scary and hard, but I need to figure out how to get to a place where I don't wake up and think to myself, oh, crap, I'm just trading the metric of my life, essentially, for dollar bills that are just being printed by our government. So
yeah, see, that hits home very, because you think that money has some sort of a value, and it does in the system, but then you're like, But these guys are just printing over there, right? So they're like, oh, they're not devaluating the dollar, they're devaluating my value.
In some way, yeah.
At the end of it, it's my value that's being devaluated. That's why I'm like, that's not a good strategy. Awesome.
That's a conversation for a different day.
Yes, and probably a different audience.